On the morning of July 8, 2014, at Varna Airport in Bulgaria, a young German guy named Lars Matank made a run for it. He was just 28 years old, dressed pretty simply in a yellow t-shirt, jean shorts, and white sneakers. He suddenly bolted out of the airport physician's office without his passport, wallet or phone, all of which were still in his luggage. He tore through the terminal, surprising travellers, dashed outside, and kept running until he disappeared into the tall grass beyond the airport fence. That was the last anyone saw of him. He's been missing ever since. But what could have possibly made him flee like that? To make sense of that moment, you have to rewind a bit and look at the days leading up to it. The night before his disappearance, security cameras in his Varna hotel caught him behaving strangely. Restless, pacing around, staring out windows, ducking into an elevator, even wandering around outside alone for nearly an hour in the middle of the night. At one point, he called his mum, Anne, and whispered that someone was following him. He sounded terrified, saying people wanted to rob or even kill him. He begged her to cancel his credit cards. His voice was clipped and tense, almost like he was speaking in code. Not long before his sprint through the airport, he even texted her, "What is Sulfaroxam 500?" asking about the antibiotic he'd been prescribed a few days earlier. By the time he sat down with the airport doctor, his fear had clearly escalated. He was trembling, nervous, and fixated on his ear injury and the medicine he'd been given. Then a construction worker happened to walk into the office, and that's when Lars muttered under his breath, "I don't want to die here. I have to get out of here." Seconds later, he bolted. That ear injury is where things really started to go off track. On July 6th, just 2 days before he vanished, he got into some sort of fight. The story around it is murky. Some say it was just a scuffle he had while out alone. Others say it involved 4 men arguing about soccer teams. Lars later told his mum there was even a second incident, where he claimed a Russian or Bulgarian man was sent after him by the same group. His friends, though, didn't buy it. What's certain is that the fight left him with a ruptured eardrum. A doctor told him not to fly, said he should get hospital treatment, and gave him antibiotics. His friends had to leave soon after and offered to stay back with him, but Lars brushed it off and insisted he'd be fine. He switched to a different hotel by himself, and that's when his behaviour really began to unravel. Up until that point, the vacation had been normal. He'd flown out with 5 friends from school, all of them in their late 20s. They'd taken trips together before, and this one wasn't supposed to be any different. The only odd thing anyone noticed was that Lars didn't seem to be eating much. Otherwise, he acted normal, at least at first. But then came the fight, the paranoia, the late-night phone calls, the strange texts. With his friends gone and his mum far away in Germany, Lars seemed to spiral deeper into fear. By the morning of July 8th, he was at a breaking point. He managed to check in at Varna Airport, and at one point even texted his mum, "I just made it to the terminal." Moments later, he would be gone. After checking in, Lars headed into the airport doctor's office to get the all clear for his flight home. But within minutes, everything unravelled. Leaving all of his belongings behind, his passport, his wallet, his phone, he suddenly bolted and vanished into the open fields beyond the airport. Since that moment, he has never been seen again. Over the years, reports of supposed sightings have popped up from different places, but none of them have ever been proven. The mystery lingers. Was Lars consumed by paranoia from his injury and the antibiotics he was taking? Was there really someone chasing him, just like he told his mother? Or did something inside him snap under pressure that no one else saw coming? No one can say for sure. The only thing that remains undeniable is this. On that July morning in Bulgaria, Lars Matank ran into the silence of a field, and he never came back. After checking in, Lars went into the airport doctor's office to get cleared for his flight home. But within just a few minutes, everything took a shocking turn. Leaving behind all of his belongings, his passport, wallet and phone, he suddenly ran out of the building and vanished into the open fields past the airport fence. And from that moment on, no one has ever seen him again. Since then, there have been countless supposed sightings, little whispers of hope that maybe he was still out there. but none of them have ever been confirmed. The mystery only deepens with time. I can't help but wonder, was it all paranoia triggered by his head injury and the antibiotics? Or was he really being followed like he told his mother over the phone? The way he whispered to her, the panic in his voice. It makes me think he genuinely believed he was in danger. And yet, another part of me thinks, what if it wasn't anyone chasing him at all? What if his mind just broke under some kind of hidden pressure no one knew he was carrying? That possibility is just as haunting. Because either way, he was alone, terrified, and convinced that he had to run for his life. The truth is still lost somewhere out there. Maybe in the silence of that Bulgarian field where he disappeared. And that's what chills me the most. How someone can just vanish in broad daylight, leaving nothing but questions behind. The only thing we know for certain is this. On that July morning, Lars Matank ran, and he never came back.